The email slid across the screen while my wife was in the bedroom packing lingerie for a trip she said was about her sick mother. I was sitting at our shared desktop in our half-packed apartment in Madison, surrounded by boxes, loan papers, paint samples, and appliance manuals. We had just bought the place, our first real home, the kind of place where every drawer still smelled like fresh wood, and every room felt like a promise we had not finished making yet. Taylor, my wife of 4 years, had told me she was driving to Milwaukee that weekend because her mom, Robin, had not been feeling well. Nothing dramatic, she said, just weakness, fatigue, a daughter being thoughtful. I believed her. That was the part that made my stomach turn later. I was trying to find the warranty folder for the dishwasher when the notification appeared in the corner of the monitor. Reservation confirmation. The Maison Boutique Hotel, Milwaukee. At first, I barely reacted. I thought maybe Taylor had booked a hotel near Robin's house so she would not crowd her mother. Robin lived outside Milwaukee in a small place with one guest room that doubled as storage, so that made sense for about 3 seconds. Then I clicked it. Friday check-in. Sunday late checkout. King suite. Champagne. Rose petals. Romantic escape package for 2. My hand went still on the mouse. I read the guest line twice because my brain refused to let it mean what it meant. Taylor Hale. Smith Keller. From the bedroom, Taylor called, "Have you seen my travel charger?" Her voice sounded normal, light, almost happy. I closed the email so fast my fingers slipped on the mouse. "Check the side pocket of your work bag," I called back. My voice sounded normal too. That scared me. She walked into the hallway a few seconds later, holding 2 sweaters against her chest, smiling like she had not just split my life in half from 10 feet away. "Found it," she said. I nodded and looked back down at the closing documents. Taylor stood there for a moment, studying me. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, "just tired of paperwork." She laughed softly. "That apartment is going to kill you before we even move in." I almost said, "No, I think you beat it to that." But I did not. I smiled like a husband who still knew nothing. Taylor came over and kissed the top of my head. Her perfume settled over me, warm and familiar, and somehow that made it worse. She smelled like date nights, clean laundry, and the life I thought we had built carefully, one saved dollar at a time. After she went back to packing, I sat there with my hand on the mouse, staring at the blank desktop. I was a BIM engineer. My whole job was noticing what did not line up. A wall in the wrong place. A measurement that made no sense. One missing timestamp in a file that could ruin an entire build. So when I saw that reservation, my mind did not explode. It started measuring. 4 years of marriage. 1 weekend trip. 1 sick mother. 1 hotel suite for 2. 1 name I did not know. Smith Keller. That was when I thought I had found the betrayal. I had no idea the payment method was about to make it worse. Taylor and I were not rich. We were careful, painfully careful sometimes. We skipped vacations. We bought used furniture. We kept the same phones longer than we wanted. We said no to trips, concerts, dinners, anything that would slow down the apartment fund. When we finally closed on the place in Madison, Taylor cried in the empty living room. She pressed both hands to her mouth and said, "It finally feels like we're adults." I hugged her from behind and believed every word. That was the thing about Taylor. In public, she was warm, thoughtful. The person who remembered birthdays, brought soup to sick coworkers, and called her mom during lunch breaks. Everyone thought she was family first. I thought so too. So when she told me Robin was not feeling well, I did not question it. I kissed her forehead and said, "Go, I can handle the apartment stuff." She looked at me with those soft, grateful eyes and said, "You're the best." Now sitting at that desk, I remembered that line and felt something inside me go cold. I waited until Taylor fell asleep. She always slept on her side, phone plugged in under her pillow, one hand tucked under her cheek. I stood in the doorway for a while, listening to her breathe. Part of me wanted to wake her up, Part of me wanted to ask who Smith was. Part of me wanted to throw the whole desktop monitor through the wall. Instead, I went back to the computer. Taylor had left her email open because we had always shared devices without thinking. I had never searched it before. I never thought I had a reason. That night, I typed Maison Boutique Hotel into the search bar. More emails appeared. A deposit receipt. A restaurant reservation inside the hotel. A spa add-on. A rideshare confirmation from a previous Milwaukee trip. My mouth went dry. This was not a mistake. This was not one bad decision made at the last second. This was organized, booked, paid for, planned around. Then I saw the card. Visa ending in 4429. I stared at it because I knew our shared card numbers the way some people knew their license plate. That was not ours. I searched the last 4 digits in her email. A whole row of paperless statements came up from a credit card I did not know still existed. The first charge was a hotel deposit. The next was a restaurant hold. Then a boutique clothing store in downtown Milwaukee. Then rideshares. Then a cocktail bar from a night Taylor told me she had a late work dinner. I clicked each one and felt the shape of the lie build around me. A dinner here. A ride there. A hotel deposit 2 weeks before we closed on our apartment. I leaned back and pressed both palms over my eyes. Behind me, boxes were stacked against the wall. One said kitchen in Taylor's handwriting. One said future office in mine. Future. That word made me almost laugh. But there was nothing funny in the room. So I did what I did when a project was falling apart. I documented. I took screenshots, I downloaded PDFs, I saved emails, I wrote dates in a clean timeline, I matched charges to her excuses. I copied everything into a folder on a drive she did not use. Every few minutes, I stopped and listened for movement from the bedroom. Nothing. Taylor slept while I built a map of her betrayal 10 feet away. By 3 a.m, I had proof. What I did not have was confirmation that Robin had ever been sick. That came the next morning. Taylor moved through the apartment like she was leaving for a girls' weekend, not rushing to help her mother. She had her overnight bag, makeup pouch, travel mug, phone charger, and a light jacket folded over her arm. Her hair was done, her earrings matched. Her nails looked fresh. Nothing about her looked worried. She looked excited. That hurt more than I expected. At the door, she turned and gave me that practiced little smile. "I'll text you when I get to Mom's." I nodded. "Give Robin my love." Taylor leaned in and kissed my cheek. "I will." That was the moment the lie stopped being hidden. Because she could have changed direction. She could have said she was staying at a hotel. She could have said she needed space. She could have said almost anything except what she said. But she chose her mother again. She stood in our unfinished apartment, surrounded by the life we had just bought together, and used Robin's health as the key to walk out the door. I watched from the window as she pulled away from the curb. For 30 minutes, I did nothing. I let her get on the road. I let my anger settle into something cleaner. Then I called Robin. She answered on the 4th ring. "Edward, everything okay?" Her voice was bright, a little breathless. "Hi, Robin," I said. "Yeah, I just wanted to check how you were feeling." There was a pause. "How I'm feeling?" "Taylor said you hadn't been well." Another pause, longer this time. "Oh, well, I'm fine. I was tired yesterday because I overdid it in the garden, but nothing serious." I closed my eyes. "Is Taylor coming to stay with you this weekend?" "No," Robin said slowly. "She didn't say anything about that." My hand tightened around the phone. "She told me she was driving to Milwaukee to help you." Robin gave a small, confused laugh, but it died quickly. "Edward, maybe there's been some misunderstanding." "I wish there was." Silence opened between us. I looked around the apartment. The morning light was hitting the boxes, turning the tape gold. "Robin," I said carefully, "I found a hotel reservation downtown, the Maison Boutique Hotel. Romantic package, king suite, 2 guests. She did not answer. "The second guest is a man named Smith Keller." Still nothing. I could hear a faint sound in the background, maybe a clock, maybe her breathing. Finally, she asked, "Did she use me as the reason?" The question landed soft, but there was pain under it. Yes. I hated saying it. I hated being the person who put that in her head. Robin had always been kind to me, practical, funny, never dramatic. She brought us freezer meals when we moved into our first rental. She remembered that I liked black coffee. She sent Taylor home with jars of homemade soup every winter. That was the woman Taylor had turned into an alibi. "What hotel?" Robin asked. "The Maison." "I know it," she said. Her voice changed. "It's less than 20 minutes from my house." I did not dump the whole file on her. Not the card, not the cocktail bar, not the old charges. She did not need every ugly detail yet. "I'm sorry," I said. "You didn't deserve to be pulled into this." Robin breathed out slowly. "I was pulled into it already," she said. "I just didn't know." That sentence sat between us. I looked at the folder on the desk. "She checks in this afternoon," I said. "I'm going to be there." Robin went quiet again. "I'm not going to scream," I added. "I'm not going to threaten anyone. I just don't want her to keep using you as the invisible excuse." Robin's answer came after a long moment. "What time?" Before I drove to Milwaukee, I made one stop. Not to get divorce papers in some movie-style scene where everything was solved by lunchtime. Real life was not that clean. I knew enough about paperwork to know the difference between a first step and a finished process. I sat in my car outside a copy shop and called a divorce attorney in Madison. Her assistant almost told me there were no openings, but I said the words "new apartment, hidden credit card, and hotel reservation," and somehow I got a short emergency consultation over the phone. The attorney was calm in a way I needed. She did not promise magic. She told me the apartment would complicate everything because both our names were on it. She told me not to empty accounts, not to destroy Taylor's property, not to threaten Smith, not to touch anyone, not to turn the hotel lobby into a brawl. "What can I do today?" I asked. "Preserve evidence," she said. "Start a clean file. Keep your communication calm. From this point on, assume anything you write can be read later." I wrote that down on a receipt from the cup holder. Then I went inside the copy shop and printed 4 things. The hotel reservation confirmation, the hidden credit card statement, the timeline I had built overnight, a blank Wisconsin divorce petition packet with my handwritten notes clipped to the front. It was not filed. It was not served. It was not the end of anything yet. But it was the first visible proof that I had stopped thinking like a confused husband and started thinking like a man protecting himself. On the front page, I wrote one sentence. Started Friday, after the Maison confirmation. Then I put everything in a folder and drove to Milwaukee. The Maison Boutique Hotel looked exactly like the kind of place Taylor would choose if she wanted to feel like nobody from our real life could find her there. Cream stone front, brass handles, soft lights in the lobby, a little seating area with velvet chairs and expensive-looking plants nobody was supposed to touch. I did not ask the front desk for private information. I did not need to. The email had already given me the date, the package, and the guest's name. I walked into the lobby lounge and chose a table with a clear view of the entrance and front desk. I was not hiding. I was not making a scene. I just positioned myself like I would position a camera in a model. Clear sightline. No confusion. No escape through misunderstanding. Robin arrived 20 minutes later. She wore jeans, a pale blue sweater, and no makeup. Her hair was pulled back fast, like she had left home the second she decided she was coming. When she sat down across from me, I noticed gardening gloves sticking halfway out of her purse. That almost broke me. Taylor had made this woman sound weak and sick while Robin had actually been outside pulling weeds. "I'm sorry," I said. Robin looked at the folder on the table. "I don't know what I'm going to say to her." "You don't have to say anything." She looked toward the hotel doors. I raised her better than this. I had no answer for that. Guests moved around us with suitcases and coffee cups. A couple checked in laughing. Somewhere behind us, lobby music played low and smooth. Everything looked normal. That made the waiting feel unreal. Robin folded her hands together on the table. Her fingers were steady, but her jaw was tight. "She told you I was sick?" she asked again. "Yes." "What exactly did she say?" "That you were weak, tired, that she wanted to stay a couple nights to help." Robin looked down. "She called me 2 days ago and asked what I was doing this weekend," she said. "I told her I would probably be gardening if the weather held." My chest tightened. So Taylor had checked. She had made sure Robin would be home nearby, but not expecting her. Robin understood it at the same time I did. Her face hardened. "She made sure I was available as an excuse," she whispered. Before I could answer, the hotel doors opened. Taylor walked in, laughing beside Smith Keller. For 1 second, I only saw her. My wife. 30 years old, polished, pretty, wearing the cream coat I bought her last Christmas because she said it made her feel elegant. Her hair was curled. Her lipstick was fresh. Her overnight bag matched her shoes. She did not look like a woman visiting her sick mother. She looked like a woman starting a weekend she had been waiting for. Smith walked beside her. Tall, clean-shaven, expensive watch. Smug posture. He carried a small leather overnight bag. His hand hovered near the lower part of her back in a casual way that told me this was not new. Taylor said something to him, and he smiled. Then she saw me. Her face emptied. It was almost fascinating how fast the lie left her body. The smile vanished, her shoulders locked. Her hand tightened around her bag strap. Smith noticed her reaction first. He followed her stare across the lobby. His eyes found me. Then Robin turned in her chair. Taylor saw her mother. For a few seconds, nobody moved. No screaming. No dramatic music. Just Taylor standing in a romantic hotel lobby with her husband and mother sitting 10 feet away from her. I lifted my water glass. "To family," I said, "since that's why you came." Taylor's mouth opened. "Edward." Smith took half a step back. Not enough to leave. Just enough to show he understood he had walked into another man's marriage, collapsing in public. Robin stood slowly. Taylor looked at her mother, and I watched her try to build a new lie in real time. "Mom, Robin's voice cut through the lobby air, low and sharp. "Don't." Taylor blinked. I opened the folder. That was the only movement I needed. I placed the papers on the table in order. First, the hotel confirmation. The words were plain and cruel because plain words always are. Romantic escape package for 2. Second, the hidden credit card statement. Hotel deposit. Restaurant hold. Ride shares. Boutique purchase. Third, the blank divorce petition packet with my handwritten notes clipped to the front. Taylor saw the title. Her whole face changed. "Edward, don't." I looked at her. "It's not filed yet," I said, "but it's started." That landed harder than shouting would have. Because it was calm. Because it was true. Because she could see I had not come there to beg. Taylor stepped closer, but Robin reached for the hotel confirmation first. She picked it up, read the package details, and her face went pale in a way I had never seen before. When she looked up, she did not look at Smith. She looked at Taylor. "You told him I was sick?" Taylor swallowed. "Mom, I was going to explain." Robin's eyes filled, but her voice stayed steady. "You told your husband I was sick so you could come here with him?" Smith shifted beside Taylor. "I think I should." Robin turned her head toward him. "You should be quiet." He shut his mouth. Taylor looked at me, maybe hoping I would step in. Maybe hoping I would turn the anger back toward myself so she could stop facing her mother. I did not move. She tried again. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." Robin gave a small, wounded laugh. "No, I suppose you planned it better." Taylor flinched. People in the lobby were starting to notice. Not in a loud way, just glances, slowed steps. A couple near the front desk lowered their voices. Taylor's eyes flicked around, measuring the damage. That was when I understood what scared her most. Not losing me. Not hurting Robin. Being seen. She whispered, "Can we please go somewhere private?" I closed my side of the folder. "You already booked somewhere private." Her face twisted like I had slapped her, but I had not raised my voice. I pushed the copies toward Robin and stood. "I'll be outside if you need me," I told her. Taylor reached for my arm. I stepped back before she touched me. "No." One word. Quiet. Final. Then I walked out of the lobby. I made it to the parking garage before my phone started ringing. Taylor. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Taylor. Again. Again. By the fifth call, my hands were shaking so badly I had to sit in my car with both feet on the ground and breathe through my nose. The voicemails came fast. The first was panic. "Edward, please call me, please. You don't understand what this looked like." The second was apology. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I know I messed up." The third was blame. "You had no right to bring my mother into this. That was cruel. You humiliated me." I laughed once at that. It came out ugly. She said I humiliated her, after she used her own mother's fake illness as a hotel key. The fourth voicemail was crying. The fifth was anger. The sixth was panic again. I did not answer. Because every version of Taylor's argument walked around the same fact like it was a hole in the floor. She made Robin part of the lie first. I only made sure Robin was present for the truth. 20 minutes later, Robin called. I answered immediately. "Are you okay?" She was quiet for a few seconds. "I don't know. I'm sorry." "No," she said, "don't do that." I leaned my head back against the seat. "I didn't bring you there to hurt you." "I know. I brought you there because she built the lie around you," I said. "You deserved to see the truth before she had time to edit it." Robin breathed in shakily. She kept saying it was complicated. Quote, I closed my eyes. "What did Smith say?" "Almost nothing. He left after I told him if he had any shame, he would find another hotel." That almost made me smile. Almost. Robin's voice dropped. "She asked me to tell you this was a misunderstanding." "And?" I told her I was done being used in sentences I didn't say. That one hit deep. After we hung up, I sat in the garage for a long time. I did not go back to the hotel. I did not follow Smith. I did not wait for Taylor to come outside. The clean ending was harder than the dramatic one. That was what the attorney had warned me about without saying it that way. So I drove back to Madison. But I did not go home. That apartment already felt like another room in Taylor's lie. I drove to my sister Audrey's place with one overnight bag, the original folder, and a headache that sat behind my eyes like pressure. Audrey opened the door and knew something was wrong before I said a word. She was 34, steady in the way older sisters sometimes are when life has made them practical. She took one look at my face, stepped aside, and said, "Come in." No questions at first. She gave me water, a blanket, a place to sit. Only after I stopped staring at the floor did she ask, "Where's Taylor?" "Milwaukee," I said. Audrey's face tightened. "With her sick mother?" I looked up. That was all it took. I told her everything. The email, the card, the hotel, Robin, Smith, the folder, the lobby. Audrey listened without interrupting, but her hands curled tighter around her coffee mug with every sentence. When I finished, she stood and walked into the kitchen. For a second, I thought she was leaving because she did not know what to say. She came back with a trash bag. "What's that for?" I asked. "In case you were thinking about going home tonight and pretending you can sleep in that apartment. You're not." I almost broke down right there. She sat across from me and pointed at the folder. You did the right thing by not fighting him. I wanted to. I know. I wanted to ruin both of them. She leaned forward. You already did the part that matters. You took control of the truth. Now don't give it back by doing something stupid. That was Audrey. No soft music, no speech, just the sentence I needed. She told me the dramatic ending was easy. The clean ending was harder. No drunk texts. No public posts. No showing up at Smith's place. No screaming match with Taylor in the parking lot. Lawyer, evidence, distance. That night, I slept on Audrey's couch while my phone lit up again and again on the coffee table. Taylor called. Taylor texted. Taylor sent voice messages. I did not open most of them. The apartment we had just bought sat empty across town, full of boxes for a future that had stopped existing before I even knew it was gone. The next few days were ugly in a quiet way. Taylor tried to turn the hotel confrontation into a story about my cruelty. She said I ambushed her. She said I embarrassed her in front of her mother. She said I made it public. My answer stayed simple. She made Robin part of the lie. I made sure Robin was there for the truth. The apartment became the last battlefield. Both names were tied to it. Both signatures were on the loan documents. Both of us had financial exposure, and none of that cared how betrayed I felt. That was the brutal part about paperwork. It did not care about emotion. It just told the truth. Taylor wanted to meet there and, quote, talk like adults. I refused unless it was through attorneys or with a neutral person present. She hated that. Of course she did. Taylor had counted on being able to use my love against me. She expected me to answer if she cried, to soften if she said my name the right way, to feel guilty if she said I was being cold. But something had changed in that lobby. I had watched her look at her mother and still reach for another excuse. Once you see that, you cannot unsee it. The next business day, I met the attorney properly. I brought the hotel confirmation, the credit card statements, the timeline, and the apartment paperwork. She reviewed it all with a calm face and a yellow legal pad. This is clean, she said. I almost laughed. Clean was not how it felt. But I knew what she meant. The evidence was preserved. The dates matched. I had not threatened anyone. I had not emptied accounts. I had not turned pain into a crime scene. The legal process began the slow way. The real way. Taylor kept calling, but I stopped answering anything emotional. From that point forward, communication went through legal channels. That drove her crazy. Because Taylor lost the one thing she had been counting on: control of the story. For weeks, I thought the worst part would be Smith. It was not. Smith was just the face standing next to her in the lobby. A smug man with a leather bag and no courage once the lights came on. The part that stayed with me was Robin. Her silence became the consequence Taylor could not argue with. Taylor could call me cruel. She could call me dramatic. She could say I should have confronted her privately. She could say marriage was complicated and people made mistakes. But Robin stopped answering her the way she used to. No quick forgiveness. No motherly rescue. No soft place for Taylor to hide. A few days after the hotel, Robin texted me. Edward, I am sorry for what Taylor did. You did not deserve it. I am sorry she used me to do it. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I wrote back, You don't owe me an apology. Take care of yourself. That was all. Because the story was not about rebuilding with Taylor. It was about refusing to keep living inside a lie after I had seen the receipt. People think betrayal has one sharp moment. The text. The hotel room. The name you do not know. But sometimes betrayal is a stack of small, organized things. A hidden card, a fake excuse, a packed bag, a kiss on the cheek at the door, a woman saying, "Give my mom your love," while driving to meet another man. Taylor's biggest mistake was not just cheating. It was choosing an alibi built on someone innocent. She thought Robin's love would protect the lie. She thought I would never question a sick mother. She thought Robin would never know she had been used. She thought the hotel room would stay separate from the family story. But the thing about lies is that they need walls. That lobby had none. Just light, glass doors, soft music, 3 pieces of paper, and the one person Taylor never expected to see sitting across from me. I did not feel victorious. Not in the loud way people imagine. I felt hollow. Clear. Finished. I did not scream. I did not chase her upstairs. I did not fight Smith. I did not pretend the divorce was magically done in one afternoon. I simply put the truth in the one place Taylor could not explain away. In front of the woman she used as cover. I used to think betrayal had to explode to be real, but that night taught me something colder. Sometimes the loudest ending is a quiet hotel lobby, 3 pieces of paper, and the person who trusted the lie standing close enough to finally see it. Taylor built her excuse around her mother's love. I just made sure her mother was there when the truth walked in. If this story hit that quiet place where betrayal and truth meet, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me what you would have done when that hotel confirmation appeared.